Hello and welcome to Carbon Academy. In this video, we will look at photosynthesis, understanding what it is and the factors that affect it. So let's start by understanding what the word photosynthesis is. It's always important to know why words are named the way they are. So the word photo means light and synthesis means make or produce. So in the context of plants, when we're talking about photosynthesis, it's the making of sugars using light. We know that photosynthesis occurs in chloroplasts, which are present on leaves. Chlorophyll is a green pigment that are inside the chloroplast and that absorbs wavelengths of light. They absorb all the wavelengths except green because the green light is reflected, hence why we see the leaves as green. Photosynthesis is an endothermic reaction. The energy is taken from the surroundings. And this reaction below shows the reactants and the products made. So you must know these formulas for the exams. So let's look at how plants use the glucose that they make. So once the glucose is made, the plants can use them, and glucose is the only usable product. The waste product during photosynthesis is oxygen. And glucose has many uses. It's used in respiration, which provides energy. It's used to convert into insoluble starch for storage, such as potatoes. And it's needed in protein synthesis for growth and repair. So these sugars can mix with amino acids to create proteins. And glucose is also converted to lipids in different processes, and the lipids are used as storage molecules. And finally, glucose can be used to make the cellulose of plant cell walls, which prevents them from bursting. So let's look at how leaves are adapted for photosynthesis. The leaves have a broad shape, which gives them a large surface area for light absorption. The leaves are thin, which allows for a short diffusion distance, so the diffusion occurs at a higher rate for gases such as carbon dioxide and oxygen. So carbon dioxide is taken in during photosynthesis and oxygen is released out. And they have vascular bundles which consist of xylem and phloem, and we will discuss this in a later video. And these vascular bundles transport water and glucose. And because they're in vast amounts as seen in the diagram below, the diffusion gradient can be maintained. The diffusion gradient is like a slope. And you can see the video about diffusion and osmosis in my previous videos. So by enabling to maintain the concentration gradient, the rate of photosynthesis can be kept at an optimum level. So an analogy that I use is the number of tills in a shop. If you have more tills, more people can check out, therefore there is no queuing up. That's the same here. If you have a lot of vascular bundles and the lots of glucose molecules made are taken away immediately, so the process can happen at an optimum rate rather than slowing down because there's a backlog of glucose molecules. So now let's look at the structure of the leaf. The structure of the leaf has many parts, but we'll go step by step. So the cuticle is the most upper layer of a leaf. It's transparent and it's waxy. This allows for it to allow light to pass through it and also reduce water evaporation from the leaf surface. Then we have the upper epidermis, and it provides the support for the cuticle. Other than that, it doesn't really have any important functions. The palisade mesophyll consists of palisade cells, and these palisade cells are arranged in regular columns. And these palisade cells contain many chloroplasts, which allows for maximum light absorption. And because they're located on the top surface rather than the bottom, again, this allows for maximum light absorption. The next part of the plant is the spongy mesophyll, which consists of irregular shaped cells. And these cells have many air spaces in between them, and this increases the surface area for gaseous exchange. And this allows the concentration gradient to be maintained as well, because there's enough space for carbon dioxide to diffuse in and oxygen to diffuse out. Then we have the lower epidermis, which contains cells such as guard cells, which control the openings and closings of the stomata. So stomata are tiny gaps between these guard cells, and they control the openings and closing of them. And the guard cells work by osmosis. And if they are turgid, if the guard cells are turgid, they open up the stomata. And if they are flaccid or plasmolyzed, what happens is that the guard cells will close the stomata because there is less water in them. Then there are vascular bundles, like we discussed previously, and these vascular bundles consist of xylem and phloem, which transport water and sugar respectively. Again, we'll cover this in a later video, but other than that, these vascular bundles, like I said previously, they allow the concentration gradient to be maintained. So let's now look at the factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis. The first one is temperature. Temperature affects many reactions, if not all, of the chemical reactions in the body and the plants. And increasing the temperature increases the rate of photosynthesis because the molecules are moving faster because they have greater kinetic energy. And because of that, there are greater frequency of successful collisions. However, photosynthesis is an enzymatic reaction. You don't need to know what enzymes are involved, but the fact that photosynthesis is an enzyme-controlled reaction. And hence, above 40 degrees, these enzymes start to become denatured. And this will reduce the activity of the photosynthesis reaction and the enzymes, because the enzymes become denatured. So the next factor that affects the rate of photosynthesis is light intensity and carbon dioxide concentration. The graph for light intensity and carbon dioxide concentration is the same, so hence the reason why I put the x-axis for both of them. So increasing light intensity and carbon dioxide concentration increases the rate of photosynthesis because they are needed for the reaction to occur. The way to understand light intensity is in a way we can understand it by the number of light bulbs in a room. The light intensity would be greater if there are 10 light bulbs in a room rather than 1 light bulb in a room. So that's what light intensity is. It's basically the number of light bulbs in a room. So after some time, the graph plateaus meaning a flat line. And this is because there is a limiting factor. And this could be factors such as temperature or carbon dioxide concentration or light intensity, depending on what the x-axis says. So if this was light intensity, if the x-axis said light intensity, the limiting factor could be temperature or carbon dioxide concentration. If it was carbon dioxide concentration, the limiting factor could be light intensity or temperature. But overall, by having the right amount of each factors enables to maximize photosynthesis. And this is important when we want to increase the food production. Because of the growing demand, we want to maximize the yields of fruits and vegetables. And farmers do these by, for example, using 24-hour light. Because they're using light throughout the 24 hours, the plants do not stop photosynthesizing at all, because as you should know that plants don't photosynthesize during the night because there is no light, but having 24 hours light allows them to carry out photosynthesis throughout. The next one is paraffin heaters. Paraffin heaters allow us to keep the temperature at an optimum level to carry out maximum photosynthesis. And these heaters, because they're paraffin, they will give off carbon dioxide as they burn. And again, this carbon dioxide is used by plants for photosynthesis. Another factor is regulating water supply. Having a regular water supply enables the plants to continue photosynthesis rather than keep on depending on them. And another one is carbon dioxide levels. And finally, humidifiers. So plants lose water through their stomata during the course of the day. But having humidifiers increases the water concentration around the surface, around the atmosphere. And increasing the water concentration in the atmosphere decreases the diffusion gradient between the leaf and the surroundings. Thank you for watching this tutorial. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to like and subscribe. In the next tutorial, we will look more into photosynthesis, learning about the xylem and phloem vessels. And as usual, there is the change in the name of the channel to Carbon Academy. And again, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.